streaming high. I want to see if this one works. If this works, then we'll be in good shape. Hopefully, it won't give us an issue. We're online right now in theory, but let me know.
I'm at least seeing the video now, so I will let you know that. That's all.
All right, cool. So how long you want to do this? Like now that the thing looks
We
like
can just
it's
shorten it to two or 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes is fine. Yeah.
The fuck is this thing?
That's good. Welcome to Growth Mind State. This is Anthony Thompson with Robert Catrona and Teresa Concepcion. How's everyone doing this week?
Oops.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go,
yeah,
friend.
It's a lot less stress. This is what happens when you mute yourself for the intros and stuff, right? Like you sometimes forget things. I gotta automate that too. Anyways,
I can't even automate mine. I actually mute mine and mute off and on right before.
yeah, yeah. They got keyboard shortcuts for everything. You just gotta like dedicate time to and like it's a pain. Anyways, what I was gonna say was welcome everybody. I'm sorry I had issues with the audio, but hopefully I have a good show today and everything. What's going on with you, man? How are you feeling?
It seems to be a very bland week in a couple ways, but it's more like there's just the impending things that are happening in the country. So we have multiple things going on. We have racial disparity seen in the U.S. vaccination drives. We have
Mm.
New York nursing homes. The virus deaths were uncounted for, and the AG and the prosecutor, not prosecutors, AG and the administration for Cuomo both have confirmed this. Florida
Mm.
Center is seeking to exclude ex-felons from the $15 minimum wage. And I wanted to just talk about the creative process. Like eccentric artists, I'm going to kind of use Madlib and Fortet, who just released a record um, as Sound Ancestors, which you guys should all listen to. But it was more about just the creative process, since we've had like Hakeem here before and all of that. And I don't think we had time to really just talk about how the process for a lot of like creation is.
Yeah. Yep. 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 How are you today, Teresa?
I'm doing all right.
I,
Hanging out.
I'm happy. Thank you for coming back to the show. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, we can definitely talk about any of those
I mean,
things.
we could cut right into it. I mean, so that's the thing. There's a lot of fat to cut into when we talk about the COVID-19 situation, both the vaccines and the dispersion of it.
Mm.
So one of the biggest things here is that there's a racial gap that has opened up for the COVID-19 pandemic's dispensary of the vaccinations. So it is seen basically. I just would like to get a document open very quickly. There we go. Slightly more than 6% of the American adults have received at least the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, but it's disproportionately small number of them are Black and Hispanic people. Actually, the data here makes one mistake or one has an issue.
Mm.
It was an AP analysis, and basically it added white and non-white Hispanic people into the white number just to find a control for the disparity between the two numbers that they saw. So, in an early look at 17 states and two cities that have released racial breakdowns through January 25th, found that Black people in all places are getting inoculated at levels below their share of the general population, in some cases significantly below. And I'm
Mm.
going to show you a little data on that. The data came from Alaska, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Indiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Nebraska, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, Virginia, and West Virginia, plus two cities, Philadelphia
Wow.
and Chicago. I'm just making sure to note how many different places that this information came from. So here's just one of the graphs here.
Wow.
It just
Wow.
shows here that this is a percentage number. So this is a percentage of the people who are allowed to get the vaccine and what they have gotten. And if you note, like Maryland has a very this it's great that Maryland's in this control for the beginning, because the numbers here is that if you see the purple here, it's a percentage of vaccinated who are Black. 75% plus is about this dark green, and the healthcare workers are the lighter green. That is the aqua green. So it's just showing you the disparity that about 40%, which is a okay number of those people in Maryland, for instance, that are healthcare workers are receiving the vaccine. But there's a huge disparity between that and just the rest of the population,
Mm.
even the 75 plus people. So just to give a comparison, unfortunately, and it's a dangerous comparison because it adds both white and Latino people together, which is it just makes it a little bit more difficult in my opinion. It doesn't. It shows you that of the people who are available to get the vaccine, some of these numbers in like let's go to just Maryland for instance and compare. It's at 70% for
Wow.
these. So it's just to match the two. Unfortunately, you have to do that. And I just want to talk about it because this is a disparity that I think is happening across the world. We're not even talking about it in I wanted to bring in a story about Israel and Palestine too, who Israel is going to give about 5,000 vaccines to the Palestinian community. That is not within its border. It's in the Israeli borders, in the West Bank and Gaza. But this must be happening across the world, where you
Mm.
have the groups that are the disparaged group. receiving a lower vaccine count. Some of them by choice. We've kind of talked about it, but I mean, this would be a great time to just talk it out because
Well,
I
I
mean,
think in general, with a lot of the stuff that goes on with governments and everything, they always put the rich and everybody else that's like their priority first. You know what I mean? Like things that keep the economy going. They don't care about like the weak or the sickly or whatever it is at the end of the day. I feel I'm not surprised at any of this stuff. I think at the end of the day, you have to do what you can by yourself until you get a chance to get the vaccine. I don't think you can't at this moment can trust what government at the moment is doing. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm wrong for feeling that way, but I don't think they're really pushing hard to give it to everybody. And I think financially, go ahead. What were you saying? What were you gonna say?
oh, I was just gonna say that's exactly the more of the point. I don't think they're putting a progressive enough vaccination program in place where we're
Mm-hmm.
actually going out there to reach out to these communities. And that is going to be the real problem here is that you're going to have to reach deep into these communities and get them to actually accept this. And I know there's two parts of this. There's the part there there's a black community that has a legitimate fear of just being the new drugs, given the new drug. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think I we understand that. But we have to acknowledge the science that it's hurting the black and Latino population at a much higher rate. So we need to focus on that. We need to somehow we can't just change their mind, but we can go from person to person and be like, please go to the vaccination facility. And we haven't gotten to that point. We haven't and we're hoping, I think we're at a point where we're hoping Biden will start that, right?
No,
That's
no.
kind of where we're at a starting point for.
No, they haven't educated people well either on how to use the resources that are in their area. So like, either they don't trust the resources, or they're not educated enough. I'm not that they can't be educated, more that they're just not informed of like where to actually get some of these resources. I know some people they want to get like vaccinated and everything else, and they don't even know where to go. They want to get funding for some sort of like help for like the COVID and relief, stimulus or whatever, and they have no idea where to go,
Yeah, I think
and
it has a lot to comes down to a lot with the rollout of how they're doing things. But I'd like to know more information, like how much like vaccinations. A lot of people are scared. It rolled out really quickly. I think a lot of people are hesitant on that front by itself. I mean, colored me surprised that they're not making sure that people who are the most getting hit by it, which are people of color and people who are disparagingly probably in poorer neighborhoods, they're not getting the vaccinations. It could be a lot with the rollout. I know Newark has already implemented a rollout where they're having people go online and enroll like that, but I don't know how well these other places are trying to do stuff like that, and people are scared. They're not sure if this stuff's gonna work. And you've got people who have money who are willing to give whatever they can to get this vaccine too. So you wonder how much of it is actually getting to be going where it's supposed to be going. How many people are greasing palms to get this vaccination like in a timely manner instead of having to wait? Because a lot of people have to wait.
no, no, no.
Which, I mean, I guess that goes to a little bit of the question of how much we should be playing favorites. The next article that I have just up is calling playing favorites for the hospital boards. And I know, for instance, like my own mother is, I mean, she does work in the hospital constantly. She's in the hospital every day. But there are people who are getting the vaccine prior to other people out of this list. And who defines the list? A lot of times it's people who are administrators in the hospitals as well. So they're getting the vaccine before other people. And I'm not sure how to feel about that because I know that my dad is much more in trouble here than my mom, but she's got the vaccine immediately. Let me just state so in Rhode Island, Attorney General Peter Narano opened an inquiry after reports that two hospital systems offered their board members vaccinations. A Seattle area hospital system was rebuked by Washington Governor Jay Inslee after it offered COVID-19 vaccination appointments to major donors. To major donors.
Yep, there you go.
And in Kansas, yeah, and in Kansas, members of a hospital board received vaccinations during the first phase of the state's rollout, which were intended for greater risk infected people. So yeah, no, there you go. I mean, that was just it already. You've already had your first impropriety when it comes to this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're not caring about frontline workers or anything like that. I mean, if we really cared, we would be giving them to all hospital workers immediately. We would give them to all frontline, everybody that, even the people that are working in your grocery store that are putting their lives on the line for you every single day so that you can get your any food that you want or anything like that. You know, those people should also be, you know, first to get this vaccination, but it's not happening that way. These people that you've deemed essential workers, right? That they couldn't afford to stay home during the first wave of lockdown. These should all be people that are getting it first. But you know, who cares about those guys? I mean, essential. We just tell you that to make you feel better.
They've proven that like they don't care about the average person at this point. You know, like everything that they've decided, like they could have gotten more vaccines situated. I mean, I don't know how fast they can produce them. I don't want to say that, but at least honesty wise, like the people should know exactly where things stand, and there should be like some sort of like money or some sort of like support given to the people that need help that can't work or can't risk being at work in a situation like this. It's screwed up, man. The whole situation is screwed up, and like the government has proven that that we're not a priority. Like they just want us back to work. They want everything to be normal. They're kind of like my mom used to say, if something is dirty, you have to clean it first before you paint over it, because if not, it'll come through the paint and like all the other stuff. Like the whole things that have a clean foundation, and you know, and that's not what they want to do. They want to just like, you know, like the government wants to like just like shoot people away or do whatever they do to try to like, you know, navigate through the BS, even though they're the ones at fault for everything. The same thing with the whole the stock exchange things with GameStop or whatever it is. The things that they prioritize is a problem. They're not prioritizing the people. They're prioritizing like the people with the money, the lobbyists, and so on and so forth. And like when Trump was in office, he was just lying. Now Biden's going into office and he's picking up from wherever Trump left off, and he's starting to realize how crappy and messed up it was left. You know what I mean? It's like going to like renting out a house to somebody and then getting to the house and realize they trashed the interior of the house. You know what I'm saying? That's what Trump did. You know what I mean? And he's in there cleaning all that stuff. And I can't give too much credit to Biden, because Biden's an idiot too. You know what I mean? I think Bernie would handle it a lot better. You know, that's just whatever, me supporting Bernie or whatever. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like this is what we're dealing with right now. Like, you can't look at it from what you're seeing in the mainstream media. You got to look at it from the perspective of what's actually happening. What do you feel with your gut? What do you see them actually doing? Why is it taking so long? These are questions that you need to ask yourself on whether or not these people are like really serious about you as a priority. You know what I'm saying? And they've proven to us that we're not. You know, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I give mad respect and time for those people that I love and care about. The government's not doing that for us, so I don't feel like they love and care about us. I think there's people involved in the process that do, but how do you change, you know, something that's controlled by rich, you know, like people with specific agendas that don't give a damn. You know what I mean? Like they're like this will eventually go away, and they'll still be rich hiding in their like, you know, private resort somewhere. You know what I'm saying? While we're sitting here dying. Like that's 420,000 people have died already, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And then
how many people have to die for them? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, please finish.
I just don't understand how many people have to die for somebody to realize that somebody's screwing up somewhere, and that this should be fixed. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm not saying I would do a better job, but I'd be fighting a lot harder than what Trump was doing. I can't blame Biden for anything yet because he's just started.
Well, Trump gave up.
But it's
Trump
like,
gave up in the end.
Trump, I think some of these people are purposely like there's some like underhanded like thing going on where I think a lot of this stuff is purposely being done. because it makes absolutely no sense that it's like people are just shrugging their shoulders in situations. I'm like, yo, like, do you realize we have like a ill disease? You can't give us any money to survive. You know the money is going to be respent back into the economy, but instead you're screwing the public. And then when the public goes to GameStop and makes some money, you're wrong. They're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is like you look back at him like this is like the Twilight Zone, bro. This is literally like the freaking Twilight Zone.
It was like that that tweet I saw the other day. It's like invest your money. Poor people should invest their money, but not like that. Don't invest your money like that.
Yep. Don't make money. You can invest it, but you can only lose it. It's like gambling at the freaking casinos. They know you're coming in there to try to make money, and they want you to lose at the end of the day because it's better for the house.
Of course,
You know
house
what I
always
mean?
wins, right?
You know, so yeah, that's what it is, bro. I'm
And
sorry.
I want to I was going to ask a controversial question. How do you feel about the fact that there are so many the vaccine probably won't just go out to these people first, but the people in the media and entertainment industry that are especially the bigger level people have been
Mhm.
receiving swabs, etc., and have been able to have access to this most of the time that the industry has been semi-open since like September, October. Um, how do we feel about that? Do we personally all say to ourselves we need entertainment as well? We value these people. Do they get vaccination? Are they on the list of vaccinations, or do they have to wait until June, May, June? Especially if you're a freelancer, for instance, and not working for for a larger company at that time. And that's a big question. I think that's a hard to answer question, because for me, of course, it would help me, but it doesn't mean that that's necessarily the best way to go.
So the problem is people aren't adapting. People aren't understanding certain things need to happen in order for us to go back the way it was. A lot of people they're sitting here panicking. They think that they're like locked in a room that they can't go out of. That's not the truth. I mean, yes, there's like hardships and anxieties and other things that are being made by this pandemic. But at the same time, it's like if you don't make the adjustment, you're just prolonging it. You know what I'm saying? Like these people don't understand. We could be in a better position right now if they stop being assholes. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that at the end of the day, that's what it is. That people are being a holes and they're freaking deciding to do whatever the hell they want to do with their lives. And I get it. It's your life. You want to live it. You want to go jump off a bridge and kill yourself? Cool, whatever. Do whatever it is to you. But you're impacting everybody that is important to other people, not just yourself. You know what I mean? And people don't get that. You know what I mean?
I think with the industry stuff too, it's just like when we started getting talks about the coronavirus and there was no tests being done, nobody was getting tested, but all these people in the industry, especially celebrities and stuff like that, they were getting these tests that nobody else was getting. Where are they getting them from? Oh, I wonder. They were making sure that they were being taken care of. They were getting tested. They were making sure that what they were getting was the best care. It's not a big surprise that of course they're going to be the ones that are trying to get these vaccines too, that they're in the front of the line for all this stuff too. I mean, can you imagine? They always say one big box office hit, if that fails, then it takes out the whole movie industry. So of course they're trying to get all the actors, everybody back and working and again because this industry doesn't want to fail either. Then it's what going to be another thing that we're going to have to bail out.
Yo, everything is fragile. Everything that's out there that people think are like, oh, they're so powerful. They're trillionaires, billionaires. Like I bet you, like if you trip Apple up or any of these other people the right way, like you just gotta know what it is that you gotta trip up, and you could screw them over. You could screw up anybody at the end of the day if you know the little Achilles heel. You know what I'm saying? Like that at the end of the day, and we think that the stock market's secure, the housing market, all this, like they give you these false illusions, and people buy into it. And they have no idea like how like just like a little thing. Look what happened with GameStop, man. Like I keep going back to it. That goes to show you that like if you have a bunch of rich people doing whatever they do, manipulating stuff, finally you get a group of people. They all go into an area like I forget the name of the website that they have, but it's like a betting thing for stocks.
Robin
Um,
Hood.
no, it's not Robinhood. Robinhood is part of it, but there's
What
the
you mean, the
Reddit
actual
the
Reddit,
Reddit
the
the
Reddit
Reddit
chain that
thread.
was,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's a group of people that they all came together and decided to do something. So it's just like, either way it's manipulated. It's either by the few or the many. The one, if you do it by the many, it's a problem. If you do it by the few, it's okay to skit. That the few, the rich, the powerful. Those are the few. You know what I mean? Not by like the public that could actually benefit from it. And at the end of the day, the rich still freaking get it because we still gotta buy shit. Excuse my language, but go ahead. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the
I mean,
day,
but much more intrinsically, though, much more intrinsically, yes, the fragility of the media companies is very true. Actually, like they don't want to talk
mm-hmm,
about it. They want to pretend like they could
mm-hmm,
just keep making movies. But right now, they're betting on just only making really big, good movies
mm-hmm,
because they can't do what they used to do and make losses on other movies that just to settle up the scores on contracts.
yep,
So yeah, right now they're in a panic too because they don't want to be bailed out, and they're kind of like the AV and the people who do audio visual stuff and do concerts, etc. They can't go out there and work yet because we don't know when we can have an indoor or outdoor festival market of any sort. And that's another like question, which is more important, the entertainment that you get on your TV and you get on the internet, or just your generalized entertainment that you got as a person out there. And I don't think there's any right answer to this question because I think that we don't have enough vaccines out. I'm very much a proponent, and I know this is not a very popular view, but I'm a very much a proponent of having an executive order to have the army go out there and give vaccines. Go
wow.
out there and literally set up stations state to state and actually go there as a federal mandate to do so. I
You're
think that
actually
we need
for
to
that? I have a problem with that. I don't know, but like it's good
it
that
doesn't
you.
mean that you have to go and get it. It means that it's available for you. That
Yeah,
you
yeah,
actually the federal government is out there serving it up. It means that yeah, I don't think you can force anybody to go get the actual vaccine, but
yeah,
I think you can say here it is available for you, and you can actually get it without waiting in the
yeah.
proverbial line, right?
Yep, 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 yep.
I just don't think that they're there yet to do any of that. I think ideally that might be
Yeah.
something that Biden administration is working on, because of the way he was talking about getting all these vaccines out and trying to get all these people, most of the American public, to be vaccinated. But I don't think we're anywhere near that. I don't even know, if they're able to churn out that amount of vaccinations at this time. It's just, I think, unrealistic from what the previous administration left this administration to do. It's just a lot. It's a lot, and it was something that this has been hemorrhaging pretty much for a while, and for them to try to like take it over and fix it now, it's going to be a while. I don't see anything springing into action
Nope.
like that. For it would be great. I think that would be great, honestly, if there were stations. Like, there's stations everywhere for testing sites now, which is great. If you need to be tested, you can get rapid testing, which it does have its own problems itself. You can get rapid tests. You can get the saliva test. You can get the test through the nostrils. Now you can get all of them. They're completely accessible, like they should have been at the beginning. But we're at that point now, finally, at least, to have testing. I think eventually it might get to that point where you'll be able to go to these testing sites and maybe actually get the vaccine as well, which would be great. Hopefully they get there. Hopefully sooner than later. Hopefully before another 400,000 people die.
Thank God for competency,
Mm.
right? Thank God, like we
Yeah,
finally have
and
competent people. Go ahead.
yeah, and I just want to be clear for there's somebody in our chat here who's talking about they're not willing to get the vaccination. I want to be very clear. When I mean mandate, I mean that you give the states a federal mandate to open up stations to do so, not that you tell people that they have to have the vaccination. I personally, of course, am going to get the vaccine for my own personal reasons, but what I'm saying is that I don't think that we have a wide enough program and stations to do it. And Teresa just said it. I mean, it's completely correct that there's not enough vaccines even for that right now. So, I mean, it's more of me trying to tell you what the future could hold, but instead we might be in a holding pattern for a while. I'm saying this could be all the way in May. Like, I don't know if I'll get a vaccine until April or May. I might not qualify for it, and it might not happen. I just don't think we should leave it to just private industries. And I would love to, if it was in more clinics, sure, but it's hard. Most of these vaccines have very specific techniques that you have to keep them. So I just want to talk about it in a large scale.
Yeah, we have to, like, as a country, be more trusting in the people that are providing these services. The only thing about it is we've been deceived so long. It's like, how do you trust people that have deceived you in the past? And like, that's what's the problem with this country. They burn bridges, then they do a little something, and people forget over time, and then they keep burning bridges, and then, like, eventually, like, look at the way the Democratic Party is, uh, the um, the Republican Party. They're all splintered because of the fact that they screwed each other's trust levels up. Like, everything is manipulation with them. You know what I mean? Instead of us being able to, like, do what's right for the people. You know what I mean? Like, people think, why can't we be a little socialist? I don't mind a little capitalism as long as we have a little socialism.
Yeah.
But people don't want to settle, man. People don't want to compromise. Everybody wants their way, and if it doesn't affect them, they don't give a damn about it. They're like, well, that's nothing to do with me. Poor people. People drive by seeing homeless, things in long, was it L.A. or whatever it is, where they have homeless people in the streets in certain areas, and they complain about them instead of, like, thinking of ideas to give them resources and stuff. It's people are stupid, man. Like,
yeah, but I think it is the responsibility of the government to try to instill the for us to actually try them to convince us to trust them, not the other way around. We shouldn't be like, oh, we should really trust the government. No, how about you guys give us something worth trusting, and we won't have a problem getting vaccinated. We won't have a problem with all that stuff. It's just, that's where the hesitance comes from. We don't have a government that we feel we can trust, and they need to fix that. They need to be the ones to fix that. It's not on us. We're doing as much as people can do, with the information that's being provided. So the government's got to be the one to step up and try to make people trust them again. It's not going to be easy, especially after this last administration. But there's a whole slew of history that you can look on to say that you not to trust the United States government, let alone any other government that's out there.
The sheeple effect, man. They say whatever they do and act however they do on television. And look what Trump did with his people, man. They raided the freaking Capitol and like all that crazy stuff that's happened. And that's all because of people watching stuff on TV, you know what I'm saying? And wilding out and stuff. It's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous.
I mean, this is the perfect passageway to one of the reasons why we have to at least have true transparency. And I will, there's two parts of this because, it's a mistake. This is a mistake from New York. So New York is going to tell us all, sorry about that, New York nursing homes virus deaths were undercounted, the Attorney General said. So on Thursday, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's administration confirmed thousands more nursing home residents died of COVID-19 than the state's official tallies. Previously confirmed by the Attorney General Letitia James this week, the surprising development is after months of stating they had divulged the true numbers as they were coming in. Letitia James charged that the nursing home death counted could be off by about 50%, largely because New York is one of the only states to count just those who died on facility grounds, not those who later died in the hospital. The true numbers show that at least 12,743 long-term care residents died of the virus as of January 19th, far greater than the official tally of 8,505 on that day, cementing New York's toll as one of the highest in the nation. So this is now transparency, at least. We're getting them to talk about and tell us their inconsistencies that they had. But still, these are numbers now that have to be corrected into the books, that a lot more people in New York died, and the curve was higher in New York than it was. So we have to take away credit from Cuomo. Like, people have been giving Cuomo credit for months now, and honestly, he's just been doing an okay job. I'm not going to say he's been doing a terrible job, but he's doing an okay job.
Yeah, I mean, he was it's look. It's like everything was on fire and you gave a fire like a just a fire one fire extinguisher to someone to try to control something. I don't think he does a tremendous job either. I mean, he's doing what he can with pretty much what they've got, which is okay. You know, none of these states are doing spectacular at the moment. But also, I don't think anybody's numbers are going to
Uh-oh.
be
Victoria's
super.
video thing.
Yeah, it'll click back in a sec. But
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's numbers are super accurate at the moment either. I think a lot of this stuff's gonna have to blow over for us to finally get real numbers, real tallies. I think a lot of people are hiding stuff in these states that they don't want everybody to know exactly what how messed up everything is and how messed up they handled stuff.
Yeah.
Trump probably has a lot. They're gonna see a lot of crap Trump didn't do. He's like a sloppy like home guest or whatever. He's gonna when he starts going through when Biden and his administration starts going through all this stuff. I'm sure they're gonna see like all sorts of crap. They're gonna be like, wow, man. It's I have faith in that. I have faith it's gonna
But
look
this also
ugly.
goes state by state and country by country. They were all, like, I already saw a good article today that Canada is not doing well in
Mm-hmm.
the whole both vaccination and in dealing with what they had a good curve for a lot of this, and then now they have an up curve in a lot of their cities. So they're dealing with it poorly apparently.
I think it has a
Also,
lot to
I
come
one of the
down
things.
with complacency, though. People get complacent with everything that's going on. They think everything's cool. You know, people start going out. I blame social media too because everybody sees people on their Instagram or whatever going to clubs and all this other stuff. And people start to think, well, our curve is down and it's okay and things are going all right and people are wearing masks. And they start to get a little bit more, let's go out, let's do this, let's go check. Oh, this restaurant just started opening back up so we can go inside, and there you go. The curve goes right back up. Complacency. We get too complacent and then we stop taking the proper precautions that we're supposed to. I mean, I still wipe down my groceries when I bring them from the grocery store, you know, and I know a lot of people that don't do it anymore because they're like, oh, well, you know, it's fine. I'm sure it's okay. No, no. I saw a lady walking around the other day that was eating food in the line, taking her mask off, eating the grapes that she had just picked up, and then touching and licking her fingers, and then touching all the stuff on the shelf, and then going back to eating her grapes.
Yep.
What? What are you doing? What's
Yep.
happening?
Yep. Yep.
See, that stuff happens in New York, but a lot of it too is like we're in and out people. So as long as you're not one of those people who like to just stand around, there's a lot of people who do that too. We're like we get weirded out. Like some of us, like you could tell the difference between the two different types of people who are like weirded out at the store and just need to get in and out. Like for me, I grab my thing and I'm gone. The people at the counter respect me, they love me, they're just like, good, you just pay your stuff and you get out. You always have your mask on. I never have to tell you anything. But it's not like that everywhere because I know that in my neighborhood, which unfortunately does not follow the guidelines as well as I would like them to, they're getting a little bit better. I feel like this period of time is like they're getting to a point where they have all been influenced by COVID in some way. It's very hard not to be influenced by COVID. There's somebody in your family most likely that has had COVID at this point. Um, but they're probably still wearing the damn same mask over and over and over again, and they're not wearing a cloth mask that's double filtered or any of that. So you're going through that whole leaps and bounds of like there are all of these other things that you have to do because you have to understand what bacteria and viral the natures of viruses. So it's science, and that comes down to not just like education as in your day-to-day life. It comes to an education of, oh yeah, you transmit things through spit. The air is constantly moving. There's stuff in the air that you cannot see. Like I think that people don't like to think about those kind of existential kind of things. And there
True.
it's just around you, you know? There's little dispersals of air going around all around you, gas, you
Yep.
know?
Teresa and I, we had like a couple years back ago a kitten named Squirt, right? And it's crazy because the cat got sick, right? And the way the cat got sick progressed so fast, man. Like we couldn't remember when that happened. And it's like we don't know how he contracted whatever disease it was or whatever the hell
He
it
got
is. Like,
distemper. It
but
comes through the feces and
yo, dude, it was so fast. My son was upset because my son loved it, the kitten and everything else. But man, I've never seen so like ever since I seen that, I'm like I don't play no games when it comes to like viral or like whatever kind of bacteria, like whatever crazy stuff that could be floating in the air, because
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how that cat died. That cat just like got real sick and died like super fast, bro. Like we 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 had him living for a while because we had gotten him kind of like while he was ill.
he was
We
a
took care
stray.
of
He
him.
was a
He
stray.
was a stray cat. We fixed him up. Everything was great. And all of a sudden, the cat just got super sick. And we had other cats in the house. None of the other cats seemed to have died or gotten sick from it.
It was just before he was gonna get his shots and stuff like that.
Yep, yep.
And
It
he
was an
got sick before he
expensive to take care of, and
vaccinations. They're
yep,
important, guys.
yep. And the poor cat just disappeared. Like
For
the cat was
animals
like
and for
bleeding in
people.
places and doing weird. Yo, it was horrible. And they had to put him to sleep. Poor little kitten had so much energy when he was living. And I think to myself with like this diseases and stuff, I understand people want to live lives and have fun and enjoy their life while they're here and everything. And they think like 2 or 3 years is the rest of their life. And that's why everybody's acting the way it is. People don't understand that it's just 2 years. Like there's people that live up to 90 years old. 2 years is nothing. I'm not
Well,
trying
there's
to.
people that are like, oh, well, if I'm gonna die from this thing, I might as well live it up. I might as well do
Take
whatever I
people with me.
want. Yeah, pretty much. Like,
It's
why am I gonna stay in one spot? If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna catch this. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Who cares? Like, and
stupid
you
thinking.
have that attitude, and of course you're gonna take more people with you. And it's people are just selfish. Selfish. People are selfish.
It's a strange part of the American attitude that they've been brought up with in I would often say it's a media culture of this, of like the cowboy mentality that if you're gonna die, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die kind of thing.
Yep. Yep.
um I I was hoping that this kind of era would at least change the minds of some of those people, but luckily I feel like I've insulated myself from those people.
Yep.
I don't see that many people who are willing to talk that loudly about it anymore. I mean, I'm sure like the first couple of months, obviously there were a couple of detractors, especially people who are more Republican leaning that I know. But now it's more like they're just skeptical of everything. And I'm a little worried because if you're skeptical of everything, you're going to fall for everything as well.
Yep. Yep.
Well, they
Because
said
you're not going to
that
know what's ever.
yeah,
Yep.
but they also said like conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. More people are believing that because it's easier to believe the conspiracy theory for something that's so huge like this pandemic going through, cross continents, that it's more easy for them to believe a conspiracy behind it than to believe facts and science is behind it, and that this was something, well, how did they know it was coming? Like, come on. I get it. It's a scary time, and it's something that we've never ever gone through, and people are willing to grasp at straws to believe anything for a reason why it is. But the people that, and denial is a serious thing. It will really take hold of people, and there are still people that deny it. They don't believe it's real. They think it's all a hoax or whatever. But yeah, it's gotten to the point where there's a lot of people that don't say that anymore because they do know people that have died or have gotten sick. Mostly the people you don't hear from anymore are the people who have lost people. And there's a lot. You can't go anymore without hearing somebody say, "Oh yeah, my friend's wife got sick and she died," or "My cousin got sick and he died." It's sad, and people are really coming to a hard truth, especially the people that were super in denial, and they're coming to those facts.
Very true.
I think people are a lot weaker than they want to like show it. You know what I mean? Like I have my fears and my doubts and concerns, but then if you got to always play this game. Like Teresa showed me a video about living life and kind of like playing it like a game. It's better to like kind of like try to win a game and understand that there's failures, but eventually you could win the game. You know what I mean? Like that's the way you have to kind of
Hmm.
like look at life.
To look at
And
life as a
a
game
lot of
and
people
not
they look at it
failing and
like
just
oh my
giving
god,
up.
like something's like ruining my path, and they don't know how to adapt, man, and they don't understand. It's all a game, man. You just got to keep fighting. You know what I mean? And eventually you'll find the path. And if you don't, then you don't. I mean, like if you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose. But at the end of the day, it's like if you give up, it's just guaranteeing it. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of people in this, when it comes to COVID, there's some people that have no resources, so they're screwed up. They're like in jail or wherever it is, and they're stuck around people that have it, and nobody wants to give them the resources to take them out of those environments, or like let them free until like the pandemic or whatever it is finished. It's just like it's just stupid laws and restrictions and other things that everything needs to be reassessed and evaluated in a way where or reevaluated in a way where it's better for everybody. Like it doesn't have to be so harsh in certain situations, and like certain situations shouldn't even be able to happen. Like the whole stock things and everything else. There should be something for both sides that people don't go bankrupt, man. It's like I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know how to explain. I just feel like
Yeah.
that like the systems are rigged purposely for somebody to lose, and that's unethical. You know what I mean? Like if you're purposely doing something money wise, to me, I think that's unethical. That you're creating a system that can destroy somebody's life. You know what I mean? Or make them just in generally crazy. This COVID's gonna make people crazy, man. Like I don't know. Do you agree with that or no? Like do you feel
I think
like
it's already made people
I
crazy.
mean,
like I
it
think
already,
go
yeah,
ahead.
it already deals with people's mental health. So I mean, in physical health as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's many layers to it. I think that not everyone is made to deal with being in alone, isolated by themselves. It's just not how they're raised or grown, or their own mental state, the way you're built, all these different factors that come into like
Mm-hmm.
your identity. And I think that's exactly it. This whole thing makes you question your identity sometimes, especially if you are unemployed right now, or if you're dealing with working from home but you're still with your kids constantly. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are just trying to define who they are right now, and it's impossible, because it's not impossible, but it's hard to bounce any of yourself off other people, and you're doing that a lot of times just through chats, and you're just trying to find your way. And I mean, that's been good for a lot of people. I would not say that this is like a monolithic kind of thing where it's bad that this all happened. For some people, this has been good. This has
Mm-hmm.
actually been a positive like time for them to. Some people have become vegetarians. Some people have decided to do an exercise regime. Some of them have quit alcohol, which is fantastic. If you've done any of those things, you're ahead of the curve. And I have to just appreciate that people are different. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things that I had to learn, is that like even if I'm not doing so great during this pandemic, it's not just about me. It's about all of us. And
Yep.
I'm just hoping that more of us can extend that idea that this is about how it affects all of us, and not just I'm tired of being home all week, like
Yep.
get
Yep.
that out of you.
Yep. Yep.
But it's people just need to remember too that it's if you're surviving right now, it's fine too. I think a lot of people are putting an emphasis on, oh, what are you doing with the time that you have? If you're surviving, and if that's the best that you can do, and that's the best that you can do mentally for yourself, look, every day that you can stay alive and stay healthy enough to keep going, because I think it's a lot for a lot of people to like just, especially if you're at home and you're not employed and you're having troubles, if you can just keep getting up every day and keep trying, that's good. That's fine. You're doing enough just by that. People just need to remember that they don't have to do anything more either. If there's just because other people are doing stuff, there's so much stuff on social media of everybody doing all these things, and it's like, don't feel the pressure to have to do that for yourself either. If you want to, yes, absolutely do it. But if you don't, and you're just getting up every day and still going through some kind of a routine and still able to function, that's okay too. Take that time, take that mental time for yourself, to acknowledge, hey, I'm still going, I'm still entering every day, which is great.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Stay
Yep.
functioning,
Okay, so
man.
I think we should. Oh,
Good.
finish. If you have a
No, I
statement,
was
go
just
ahead.
saying. I'm just saying. Stay functioning, everybody. That's all. Like you got to keep yourself
Yeah.
functional. Whether you got to know when to take breaks, know when to regulate whatever it is that's bothering you, and keep moving forward. Because that's the way to go. If you sit around and let it like bust your pipes, like basically like the blood pressure and the stress, it breaks you down. Like you become weak and slow and everything else, and you start forgetting things. You want to stay strong, stay focused, stay calm, stay relaxed, stay like if you gotta a little bit of this or a little bit of this, not to the point where it breaks you, but just relax. Just don't let your body deteriorate around you and focus. I'm sorry.
I mean, and I think that's the hardest part is that you have to learn a new skill of focus during this
No,
period of time, which
no.
is, I think, it's not always going to be easy for everyone, and for different reasons, just for monetary reasons or for the peacefulness of like you enjoyed your run every day. And now you
Mm,
feel weird going out on a run every day. Or you can only do your run for like 20 minutes because that's good enough for you.
yeah.
And like I do my curls every day, but it almost feels like you got to do 2 hours of yoga at this point for me to like feel like I did anything in the day. And but that's my coping mechanism, and you just learn your own coping mechanism.
Mm.
And sorry, the only so I was gonna just throw it to a much more dense story. So if you have something more to say, you should say it because this
No,
is a
no.
really dense story.
This guy
Okay.
that you're talking about right here.
Yeah, this guy here, this Florida senator wants to exclude ex-felons from receiving their $15 minimum wage that the Florida state residents approved. So just months ago, Florida residents overwhelmingly voted to approve. Let me bring this down a little bit just so you can see like a title for this baby. So voted to approve Amendment 2, a ballot initiative that raised the state's minimum wage to 15 an hour by September 2026. Today's State Senator Jeffrey Brandes of St. Petersburg, a well-connected veteran of the Florida GOP, filed SJR 854, a measure that will, if enacted, exempt some Floridians from the increased minimum wage protection. And now these are people who are actually suffering. And that's actually why I'm making this story is important to me, because these are people, yes, they're felons, they committed a crime that is a federal level offense, but they do all everyone deserves the ability to come above and raise themselves to a living wage, etc. It should never be taken away from you to earn a living wage for your life afterwards.
This is what people of color and other minorities or whatever it is have complained about in the past about how they've had a system that was rigged to keep people down. You know what I mean? That there's certain uh, disincentivizers, is that the correct way of saying it, to people
Mm-hmm.
doing certain things in their lives. Like you want people to live correct, like law-abiding lives, give them decent wages. So now, okay, let's take the opportunity away from ex-criminals to making a living wage. So what are they going to do? Revert back to what they're having, that they were doing prior to it. I got to either sell drugs, or I gotta rob people, or I gotta do this, or I gotta do that. I mean, in order for me to survive, or I gotta, they're trying to make it sound like find a job that's worth that much in order for them to not have to pay $15 an hour in wages. Somebody I had watched the other day about the minimum wages. They're like, why would anybody want to pay somebody $25 that's not worth $25 in income? Like, because that's what I understand the concept of that. Like, if the minimum wage is, let's say it's $25 instead of $15 or whatever the minimum wage is, why would somebody be
Mm-hmm.
incentivized, like a business owner be incentivized to hire somebody unless they can bring in more than that? You understand what I mean? Like that's the mindset of a business owner who's capitalistic mind state of a business owner. Now, how many people would want to pay people more than what they're worth? And it's hard to determine in regards to like cooks and waitresses and everything else, who deserves the extra money. I think everybody deserves the extra money. I think there should be a regulated set amount that we've determined, which we've had, which
Well,
is
I
like
think you're missing
25
the
bucks or something,
point.
right?
You're missing the point though, because this is a living wage. Nobody wants to work at McDonald's for $7.25. That's ridiculous. Nobody wants to do that job. So if you want to raise the thing to $15 an hour, everybody's money is going to go up. Because if $15 an hour is the base for just doing work at McDonald's, then everybody else's money is going to have to go up. Everybody else is going to have to get paid more. Because I'm doing more than McDonald's workers. Okay, great. Then I get paid more. All right. It should really, the price of like your minimum wage should really be closer to $21 an hour for a living wage in America. Everything else goes up. All the prices of everything goes up every single year. This topic heats me in the beginning. just to start with the $15 an hour, but everything goes up. So you're gonna tell me that people are trying to survive off of 3-4 jobs is ridiculous. That I have to work 4 jobs just to keep my apartment or to keep my house or something like that. If I don't have a college education, and for whatever reason, who cares? College isn't for everybody. I hate that people get so elitist when it comes to, well, they should have a better education. Well, education is rigged up against you too, because that gets to put you in the hole. And then you have student loans. People who are already poor, you can't go to college and expect to come out on top. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. $15 an hour, everybody should, that's a joke within itself for it to be minimum wage. It should really be $20 an hour. But everybody's money needs to go up. And all these fat cat CEOs, they get these huge, exorbitant amounts of money at the end of the year in bonuses and everything like that. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys are not going to be able to get your huge bonus this year because what? You had to make sure Stacy at the Walmart that she's working at actually gets to make her money without having to go to 2 other jobs? Come on, man. And of course, it's got to be a shit show out of Florida going and saying, oh, the felons can't get $15. Why? What gives you the right to say that? I mean, we set up this system so that way you go and you do time and you pay your dues, and that's where you pay your dues, and then you've gone and paid your debt to society, and you get to come out and you're supposed to be able to get a job and do everything, and you've already paid your debt to society. You're still paying now because I'm not going to get as much money. I'm still paying. When does my debt to society get fulfilled? All right, I'm going to go.
I totally agree with you. First and foremost, I think everybody should have a high minimum wage, right? I totally agree with it. I'm just saying, from the perspective of a business owner, they've developed this system for so long that at this point they're like, why would I do that? Instead of thinking of the humane and more moral way of doing things, they're like, I gotta make my money because everybody's snaking everybody. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to wages and everything else. This is why I want co-ops, worker co-ops, where everybody works together to a certain cause and then create something. You know what I mean? I know that sounds like a socialistic type of thing to do. Like, you know what I mean? That's what it is. Like that's like Trump right there. Anyway,
yeah, sorry, I had to. I had the time to do it, so I had to do it.
Yeah. So my point being is with everything else that's been going on, we all have to raise the minimum wage, but also understand that they've created this system where the entitlement of these rich business owners feel like, why should I pay this? If you're not benefiting me, why should I pay? It shrinks the market down to certain qualified peoples. For those who don't have educations and those of you who don't have the resources to get these jobs, some people have to move out of state to get some of these decent paying jobs that pay really well to keep you living. If you don't have these resources, you're not available. That's not available to you. If you're coming from jail, they're just adding even worse. They're putting salt to the wound. You're already going to struggle getting something with something on your record from jail, and then on top of that, you can't even make more than the set minimum wage, or less than, what is it? Not $15. What are they trying to agree upon? Like 7 something?
Well, no, they're not trying to agree upon anything. The minimum wage in Florida, I believe, is about $7.50 for workers who are especially restaurant workers. I mean, that's something that's why. Okay, so I would love to have this real discussion about minimum wage with Daniel. If you remember Daniel Smith, when we were trying to have him before, because he's a restaurant worker, and I completely understand your argument about the minimum wage fluctuating the costs for other people, but I think that that's a necessary cost fluctuation. We're talking about inflation, us not.
they need to break the
Yeah,
system.
we're not following
and
inflation.
yeah. Like the system's already broken, so we need to break it more to repair it correctly. Like,
but it used to be back in the day. This is how, these boomers and stuff like that were able to buy a house at the age of 25 because the cost of living was comparable to what they were getting at a minimum wage. It's not happening anymore. They stopped because all these companies, they wanted to keep more money in their pockets. So they stopped going and raising the minimum wage and making sure people had a living wage. We are no longer at a living wage. Minimum wage is ridiculous. It's pathetic, and it's nobody should have to work 3 back-breaking jobs to be able to live in this country. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. There are people that go from one job to the other job to the next job. And then people want to go and stand there and wag their fingers at them. Well, you shouldn't have kids, or you shouldn't have this, or you shouldn't have that. It's just one person sometimes. There's just one person trying to live, trying to have something nice, a home. And they can't without a roommate or something else because they don't have the opportunity with having a minimum wage at one job to supplement their living. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable in this country, especially. We always talk about, oh, America's so great. What are we great at? Making poor people poorer? Oh, we're great at that. Excellent.
Yep. They use the excuses. Why don't you, if you know you deserve more, you should find a job that pays more. I'm like, well, what if you can't find those jobs easily? Like nobody wants, like, what if you can't? Like they said somebody said something about if you get this cheap job, you get the experience to learn more. You get more educated on the job, so you can get a higher paying job.
Yeah,
like,
that's how they're screwing people that are college graduates now. You get an internship. Oh, well, it's a non-paid for internship. Oh, that's nice. How am I supposed to pay for my housing is non-paid for too. So this is great. I can definitely do this internship. I don't need food. I don't need that. That's fine. I can definitely take this non-paying internship until you deem that I've had enough experience to actually give me money. Get out of here. Get out of here.
So now we're talking about privilege a little bit too, because now we're talking about the privilege of being able to take an internship and stay home, because or do multiple things. Like I'm going to throw my brother under the bus, but he's doing really well and I'm glad he did it. But he was an EMT, and you don't get paid in a lot of counties as an EMT. So look, he did the work. It's not like he should have gotten paid for that work, but he stayed home, and he's able to stay at home until this point. And he's working now. He got his master's degree, so now he's working at a college, but he's still living at home because as he's 8 years younger than me, but he's still that internship and doing an MA program and then doing an EMT program. That means that he just wasn't getting any money, but he was doing work for people. And that's what I think people also, I don't think that should be the standard. Like my brother should be getting way more, but it also means that that other people should be able to live, it's you have to find a way to not compare your family's experience with the experience of somebody else who is more disparaged than you. Because it's impossible for somebody like for me, when I walked into the scene, I was trying to get an internship, like whatever, but I couldn't afford to go back and forth from New Jersey to New York, do an internship, not get paid. I did it for 3 months, 3 to 6, I think it was 5 months actually. But no, it drained me, and it was right during the last drop off in 2009. So I got to experience it. It was like right after the last drop off in our economy. So I knew that we were in a different situation. They're milking people's internships for your work and not necessarily for your training. And that's the difference. Like they used to train people to keep you working in that facility for as long as possible. Now they really just were like, we need you for a 6 month, 12 month.
Here's your credit. Here's your credit. And they're like, here's your credit for school, and that's it. Get out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hated when.
That's a privilege.
Yeah, but I hated when $15 an hour first came out, and people were like, well, the guy that flips my burgers at McDonald's isn't worth $15 an hour. How can you say something like that? It's not about him being worth $15 an hour. It's about giving a living wage to people. And guess what? If you're getting paid $15 an hour for being something like crazy that should be paid a lot more, then that's a different subject. It's not about the McDonald's worker getting $15 an hour. It's about maybe you should be getting paid more for your job. And that's what it needs. It all will go up. Everything will have to go up. If they're getting $15 an hour, everybody else is going to have to go up. Because you can't tell me, like, oh, an engineer trying to get, like, I'm saying it's a ridiculous analogy, but at the same time, it's like an engineer trying to get $15 an hour is going to say, well, I'm not going to get paid as much as somebody who works at McDonald's. So, yeah, these people need to get paid more. They need a living wage. They need to be able to survive off of one job, even if it is flipping burgers at McDonald's, because you're still expecting that person to be there, right? When you go to McDonald's, you're still expecting that person to have a job there. And I don't know if you've noticed, there ain't a lot of high school workers working at these jobs anymore. They don't want this job either. They don't want that job. And people are going to have to do that job, right? People are still going to McDonald's on Christmas Eve expecting it to be open, right? But that person, she doesn't deserve $15 an hour, or he doesn't deserve $15 an hour to be there helping, giving you burgers instead of being at home with their family. Get out of here.
Guess what I found, guys?
Now you found it.
I was like, let me check down here. I was like, what? I was like, oh, man. Man, that's the thing. That's the chaos of I'm sure you have the same thing where you got so much equipment, and things that you have, and you're just looking for that one thing. Oh, there's
chaos over here.
It's like you talk about swamp creatures, you can find some things out there. It's the swamp of like equipment. It's unbelievable. But I'm happy. This is gonna be good because then if I run into issues, I have it here. I was looking for it. I had taken it out of the chain of audio, and now I could reinsert it somewhere else. Pause. It sounds like a funny thing to say, right? Anyways, do you want me to cut over to the next?
We don't have to cut over yet. I mean, we'll cut over to it. I wish we could play. I mean, if we were just streaming on Twitch right now, we could just play some of this. But if anybody knows the creature Madlib and Fortet, these are two wonderful producers out there. Madlib on the right and Fortet on the left there. So Madlib dropped an album called Sound Ancestors, and actually it was Fortet. I really want to talk about the creative process. It took years to do this apparently, and what he would do is he just sent him hundreds of files, and he found all the best parts of it that he found were the best parts of it, and created this like major mix, which is going to be his first studio album. Like, what is considered his first studio album? I think there you go. No worries. So I want to just talk about the creative process, because sometimes we don't just have a moment of relaxation where we just think about how we work as people. Like Madlib is, for me, Madlib is one of the best producers of all time. And I don't know, I don't know if that fits into your aesthetic, because this is like a jazz hop person, So, but it takes years sometimes to create these like ethereal sounds. And like, how do you think about like the process of like Kendrick and TDE, who they take 4 years sometimes to put out anything? Is that better or worse than somebody who's just pumping out record after record? And sometimes that stuff is just fire. Yeah.
Like Tory Lanez, for instance. Tory Lanez spits out like 1 million tracks a year, and they seem to all get pretty good popularity. I mean, he screwed up with that Megan Thee Stallion incident where they're still going through the issues of her getting shot in the foot. But this is something totally different. Why
you got it going?
I mean, like at the end of the day, right? It's like that's why it's better to have like people there that'll protect you. But it is, everybody's different. Anyways, everybody's experiences are different. Like if you're into Madlib's music, right? You know what I mean? Like, you understand that there's a huge difference, and there's a different type of respect. The same thing with MF Doom and all these different people that have been through things. in hip hop that are respected. They've. I don't know if I'm being clear enough with that, but you understand what I mean? Like it's like,
No, no,
the,
I feel you, and I'm gonna say rest in peace, Doom and
yeah.
Double K, because Double K passed away last night.
Oh wow.
Um,
Oh,
I don't know. Do you know who Double K is?
No, not at all. But that's a shame to hear.
yeah.
You know who it is?
Yeah.
No.
Uh, no, you would love the music. You would love the music. A group called People Under the Stairs, and it's like a West
Oh
Coast,
yeah.
like everything that was happening with Def Jux, in the East Coast. Basically, the West Coast had People Under the Stairs, and they were all doing just backpack, just sample after
I
sample.
think
So
I know what you're talking about. I think I've heard of part of
yeah,
it before. Like I listen to like it's crazy because I have like a lot of independents that I listen to and a lot of major labels that I listen to, and I guess it's different. Like like it depends on. I like more of that like hard club slash like I don't know, cursing, talking about like gangster stuff. You
no,
know what I mean?
I mean that's what I mean.
Like
That's
I
why
also
I
like
want to
reggae
talk
too.
about the creative process.
Like I'm half West Indian, so I like reggae and soca and I even like reggaeton a little bit. Like here and there. But some people, it's just like I don't know.
I think it's just easier for some people to churn out stuff faster. I mean, you get the industry, they want people to like they want
Some people
I need
want
the newest thing,
volume,
I
some
need it
people want
now,
quality, right?
and they get a lot of pressure from the industry to like produce, 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 produce. There are some people that you have to let them sit on something and work through it and they'll produce fire, but they don't get the time that they need. I think that happens with a lot of artists. They don't get the time they need to really develop something, even something that might come out and it's really good and you're like, wow, this was really good. They might be sitting back there saying, well, it could have been better, but they've been pushing me to bring something out, and I think like especially with the industry, they just rush artists too much and they don't give a lot of artists the time that they would need to really work on stuff, and then just sometimes some people come like it comes easier to some people to just put out as much as they can, and then some people need that like that push, they'll have people that's how they got found because they had people behind them like just put stuff out, put stuff out, put stuff out. If it doesn't matter if it sounds good or not, put it out and it gets you attracted to them and then you end up listening to the stuff they actually put their whole hearts into. I'm just thinking of like not when it comes to music, but when it comes to media, the producers for Rick and Morty, they were allowed to have that time. They had like years between seasons so that they could develop the show the way that they wanted to. They were given that creative opportunity to kind of like expand and look at the show and it has such a huge following that people are willing like their fans are willing to wait years between seasons for a show if it's going to be great. And I think a lot of fans in general would love, if their artist is allowed to create the way that they should, real fans will wait. They'll wait for as long as it takes for something to come out that's really good. But, when it comes to the industry, you have the industry behind things too that are just like pushing these artists to churn out as much as they can as all the time, and they have a lot of pressure when it comes to that. So you have that affects that creative process for all these artists, because I'm sure a lot of them have like different albums like, oh yeah, I really like that album, but if I had more time to work on it, it probably would have been even better.
People think of their advances,
I
man. They
mean,
give them these nice big advances, and then they're like realizing that, I gotta make some money or I'm gonna be screwed at the end of this.
and then some of them don't take advances. Like this is why I went on Madlib, because he's one of these people who he threw out his cell phone like 3 years ago. He missed To Pimp a Butterfly. He missed having a track on To Pimp a Butterfly because only his wife has like it's the only number that you can get to.
Yeah.
So like, is that, and he has over I think it was 35 records. So he's like one of these people who just doesn't care about the money. And that's one of the things that like I'm like realizing that there are just different artists out here, and there's like two zones. There's the industry zone and there's the just I'm gonna be a monster in my own head. And like I think even Kendrick is kind of like one of those people, like where he's just like, nah, I'm gonna make the best tracks that I possibly can, and that's all that you're gonna see that's gonna ever come out. And that's all you're ever going to see. You're never gonna have me on a weak track. If I do a feature, it better be a damn good track because that's all that's all I do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the way you gotta do it. Like everybody's got their own approach, man. Everybody thinks they got the secret sauce. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
what it
really what
is.
it comes down to a lot, you know. And then artist integrity. Some people, some of them are willing to put out whatever comes out, you know, because they feel like, oh, well, it's fine. Whatever comes out, it doesn't matter, you know. It's at least I'm making music. And then there's some people that they'll be gone for years, years. And then they come back and they come out with something and you're like, damn, that's what you've been working on this whole time.
Anybody that you're thinking of that you're waiting for to come out?
Oh, well, I like J. Cole and stuff like that. And a lot of his stuff, you know, he was gone for a while and he came back and he started, you know, he came back more for all these like new artists that were coming after him. I think that was a big thing that a lot of these new artists were trying to start rap beefs with all these other rappers and people that had already been out, and they came out and it was just they were just starting beef with people just so that they could get attention, you know. And it was only when they realized, when these other artists started coming back and they were like, oh, you starting beef with, no, these are fans, they're just fans starting shit just so that they can make a name for themselves. I think of who's that, Machine Gun Kelly trying to go after Eminem. And
So what's his face?
Yeah, and then he just had to flip records.
What's
He
his face?
completely
What's his
flipped.
face in it too? Little Pump.
Little Pump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Little Pump just said something about Eminem too. You know what I mean?
they do it just to, they're fans, they're all fans, and they just do it
All
to get
stands.
attention. Yeah, exactly. And they just do it to get attention and stuff like that. And I know J. Cole was talking about somebody that was coming after him, and he said he ran up on them at the club and was like, "Oh, you're trying to talk all this shit," and they just started like fanboying on them so hard, like, "Oh my God, J. Cole, I can't believe you're here," you know. And he's like, "What the hell am I doing here? These people aren't trying to come after me." He's like, "They're nobodies. They're just trying to make a name for themselves," and that's the way they're doing it in the industry now, you know.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so I was gonna say I rep that Dreamville, JID, Earth Gang. You should hit up those records if you haven't already.
I like JID. JID
but
is dope. Look at it.
yeah, JID is dope. Like those Leonardo DiCaprio records just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, we got some Vince Staples levels stuff right here. And I was gonna say Pusha T is the only person that if Pusha T comes up on you for some reason on J. Cole, then you walk away. That's when you walk away.
You want me to cut back over to any
No, nobody's messing with Pusha.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to cut over to, like articles or
Nah,
anything?
I mean, I wish we could play the music, but we're all good.
Well, that's the thing though. Like I'm eventually gonna start doing some stuff with how's it called? Oh, why can't I remember it? Mixcloud. Mixcloud might give us the
Yeah.
options to be able to do some of the stuff. You know what I mean? So if we can,
Oh yeah,
like,
and I mean, like if we were just streaming to Twitch, like if we want to, if at some, I mean, it makes no sense right now because we still have a couple more topics to just scan through real quick. But like, you can play stuff on Twitch and it'll get blocked out. The sound will get blocked out if they need to, and
yeah,
that's it.
but that's
But
kind of
YouTube
annoying.
will
Yeah,
devastate you.
yeah. The
YouTube will
freaking
like destroy your account.
they'll just basically take it off for protection purposes, but they can't come later
Yeah.
and charge you anything for doing it because it airs at least once. You know what I mean? Like the first time you play
No,
it. No.
no, I mean that's the one good thing about Twitch. I love the Twitch community too because of that. I mean, the thing is that you can't like if you play it too loud, it'll like end for too long, and you're not doing a commentary on it. You will get a violation of some sort. But it's only
Mm.
that's recent, and they're still trying to figure it out. Like that's why I mean I kind of miss the last like this whole year has been weird for the whole situation because now everybody was like, oh, we got to make our money, so I have to do a copyright on all of these, like,
Yep.
and that's what the year has been. has been like learning copyrights everywhere. Like that's why I put beats on my own beats on everything. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
How does like I don't understand. You remember how they used to sample everything? How does that like you don't hear any sampling anymore? I guess copyrights has gotten through for freaking sampling as well.
Yes. I just on YouTube. So I did a hip hop like kind of like beat show, and I did it on YouTube and Twitch. YouTube immediately found a sample that I used, and it literally violated. So it basically just cancels it in like 4 or 5 countries. It's not a lot
Mm-hmm.
of countries, but it's like you have to do a sharing thing now too. And I'm like, okay, but that was like literally a half a second sample. I don't know how you found it that quickly, but their algorithm is so precise that they will find any music that is on like a BMG.
There's money. There's
Or
money
Do
involved.
you know how many Jersey club DJs are gonna be out of a job? All they did was sample.
They make the system once, and then they made the system once so that that it can regulate the YouTube or whatever it is, and now it's just gonna help them make profits. That's all. They look at it as a business expense. Whatever money they invested in the algorithm to search all this stuff is an investment for their protection. They won't get as many lawsuits. They won't get as many issues with copyright. Like that's all they care about. They just want to make sure that that money flow doesn't stop. And that's what's crazy about it. This is why, like, when we do our own thing, we're gonna focus on directing people to the site, and that's doing what we got to do with the things, because I want to deal with independent artists and other things that when we start doing the other show, and I don't want YouTube flagging me on things that I'm doing for the people that are actually on YouTube as well. Like they'll hear their music. I had issues where I was doing showcases, and like music that they had on YouTube got flagged because they were doing live performances on my show. You know what I mean? So like for that,
yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean?
No, I was gonna say because I mean, like on Twitch, there's a ton of DJs that do that, like are DJing all the time. Like they come in every couple days and make sure they do a set, and they're using full on samples and full on everything. So what they have to do is that they have to take off their VODs, so you can't go on demand back again. So that just means that nobody can watch it afterwards, and you're just doing a show for people. But it's like it's like that's nice. I love that. I think that that's going to be the future for a lot of people, is going to be doing performances, but the things that it's hard to save, it's hard to put up again.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
Teresa,
save everything. I got all the footage. No, I'm kidding.
We're gonna talk about some good stuff in the news.
Yeah,
So
let's talk about the good stuff in the news.
since we're on a COVID kick for most of this, engineers are designing a new face mask with a test strip to detect COVID. And they said it's kind of like a pregnancy test. It's similar to a classic pregnancy test. A color-changing strip may in the future be mounted on the face mask to detect the presence of COVID-19 in the air you breathe that day. So it's allowing everyone to self-monitor their environments that they pass through. So you can tell if you've been to some place that might have been exposing you to COVID-19. The project was launched by Nano Energies at UC San Diego with a $1.3 million grant from the N1H's Rapid Acceleration of Diagnostics Radical Program. They said it's created a small test kit to attach to the front of any masks, which can be mass produced at the cost of about 3 cents per kit. So after breathing through the mask for 4 to 5 hours, enough particles would be available to determine if you came in contact with the virus throughout the duration, or indeed if you perhaps have contracted it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, 3 cents is nothing.
Yeah.
Anybody want to? I don't want to like cut things short, but I saw what you was doing at. Anybody want to take a quick break, or like I don't want to cut things short in the middle of the discussion. Or
no, I mean I think we're almost done. This is like wrapping.
Yeah,
up.
we're almost done.
Oh no, I thought you were getting. I saw you in the thing like.
I was getting something, and I was just like, I can wait.
all right. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just three quick things, and then
restroom break or something.
We'll be done.
I don't want to hold you or me or anybody else, waiting or whatever. I'm gonna get the other microphone set up so that you can hear me talk to you while she's talking. You know what I'm saying? Next time. All right, I'm sorry. So we were talking about the strips, right? I like the I kind of screwed up that thing, didn't I?
I want them to be like rainbow color. That's all I want to hear. I want to hear that like when you see, like it hits your mask and all of a sudden it's like, so why do you have a rainbow on your face? All right, we got to get the hell out of here. We're done with this place. This place got COVID in it.
Yeah, or like, neon green would be great. Something looks radioactive. Does it come with a warning sound? Pew, pew.
They should have the stuff that they use for banks, like when you steal the bank bag or whatever and it explodes like powder on
the dye, yeah.
Oh, the dye.
Blue dye. Just blue dye explodes on your mask.
Yeah.
They also got they said that Miami team's able to bring back basketball fans back to arenas with the COVID sniffing dogs that they've got. And they said with these truly potent pooches, Miami Heat will be able to allow some ticket holders in to watch their games, provided they get an A-OK from a team of COVID-19 sniffing dogs. Oh, they're so cute.
I thought dogs could catch it. Like, is
Well,
that kind of a bad thing? Like, they're sniffing
it says several countries have already trained dogs to sniff out COVID-19, and the combination of masks, socially distanced seating maps, and the canines means around 2,000 lucky fans get to cheer on their home team next week. Next week? What?
I think people are so thirsty for
next week.
Yeah, that's so thirsty. Like, people are like, I need to have sports. I need to do this. So we're going to do everything possible. We're going to not trick dogs, but convince dogs to go sniff out COVID. Poor dogs going to catch COVID and be sick.
Well, they claim that they have like the success rate of 94% detecting COVID-19. So
what happens when they start losing sense of smell? Because that's one of the COVID symptoms, right?
I think it was more peaceful for these players to like...
I don't smell no COVID. And then they're just going to be sniffing people for no reason.
I think it was probably more peaceful for these players not to have any real fans in the stadium just, jeering at them. Because, I was saying earlier, like, you don't ever hear fans like, yeah, you're doing a great job. No. The only time you ever hear fans say anything to players is when they're like, you suck! Yeah. Go home!
I was like waiting to come back to that. I think that the fans are only important for the guys that really need to be acknowledged all the time. Like the people, like your big players are like, I don't know who's in right now, who's in the league right now. I haven't been watching this year since all of this has happened, but like nobody really wants those people in the stands unless, they're gonna get something later. You're gonna go talk to them later. And I'm sure that happened. That used to happen when they're, they go off to the booth. Is there post games now? Like, do they go to the locker rooms now? Do they even bother?
So. I don't think so.
Or they just let, yeah, nobody cares now. Then, so what's the point of all that rage and rave? I get it. It's sports. It's the sports ball.
You know what it is that they're these season ticket holders and everything like that. They're asking for their money back is probably what it is. So they're like, let's get these fans back in the stadiums because if we don't, we're gonna have to end up giving them back their money. God forbid. Because they make plenty of money on just advertising alone anyway during these sporting events. So it's not like they really need the fan money.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just about the money, and I'm glad that it's only going to be another year or two of this. Because I mean, though, actually, that's a great question. Are we going to just have half filled capacity stadiums from now for a couple of years, for 2 years?
Can you imagine how short the beer line would be?
No, I think it's going to go back to the same. I think it's going to go back to the same thing.
Well, you just told me.
They're gonna try to. They're going to try to convert it back as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, money. We need money. We're bleeding here. We need money.
The concession stands aren't making money. They can't get away with the $10 beers and everything like that anymore. Nobody's buying them.
Think about how much money
12.
that we're making.
It's gonna be 15.
$20 beer. This better be the best damn beer I've ever had.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. They're bleeding money right now. They're like, as long as we can stay open. And I know part of that thing is like we just want to stay open. We don't want to go bankrupt. But then once they start making that money, it's all on. They're putting that full drive, like full forward or whatever they call it. Yeah, they're thirsty for that money right now.
And they're being pushed by the people who are in their arenas too, who have retail facilities that they can't sell anything. So all that merchandise. So yeah, and so one of my friends here, Trashy Plays, has a great comment. Aren't stadiums usually built with tax dollars too? So that is a great point. That a lot of these people are just trying to, yes, they're trying to drag out their margin for 2 years, but man, they've got to deal with a loss. If they can just deal with a couple years of loss, but no, that's not how it works, right? That's not capitalism. For them, it's not capitalism.
People they don't understand the whole concept of, if they would have given us some money, we would have reinvested it in purchasing things like foods and all that other stuff. They would have had money to invest into protective gear for their employees. They would have kept the cycle going if people kept having money. But they didn't look at it like that. They're like, we got to give the businesses money so that they could give, like, they could trickle it down or whatever it is.
They love that trickle down.
Yo, man. Well, the minute they said they're like, we're going to give trillions to whatever, I was like, all right, we're screwed. They don't care. Then we're not priority. And then they started gradually like, go ahead.
No, I mean, what are we gonna do about, like, the obvious thing is that when it goes state to state and city to city, I'm thinking about the tax dollars thing. They are getting a tax incentive to have the stadiums there. Oftentimes, most of these cities lose money, like every year over these stadiums. What is going to happen that now that they had the bubble for this time and all these people are in, what are they, in Florida, right? They're all in Florida.
Yeah, Miami, I think. Yeah.
So what are we gonna do now? They just lost money for this. The state lost money for all that year, and I mean, we can't do anything about it because that's safety. We're being safe. Madison Square Garden had really the best way to deal with it. They had voting machines in the Madison Square Garden, so people voted there. They're gonna open it up, I believe, to do some vaccines at some point. That's the only ideas that we have, because we're not going to take the tax money away. That's one of the worst parts of it, right? We're not going to take any of those tax incentives away now, just because of the pandemic, which is scary. We should learn from this and say, what is the value of these places if they close and we can't use them?
Well, my thing is, they're saying it's going to be a little less than 10% capacity. It's going to be Monday night's LA Clippers game. It's 10% capacity. How much, like, energy, electricity, everything like that for them to probably get up and running most of the stuff so that they can just accommodate these few fans too? Because I'm sure they're limiting what's getting turned on, what's getting used when it comes to, you're going to have people that are going to have to come in, sanitize any bathrooms and stuff, because you can't expect these people not to have a whole game and not go to the bathroom. You're going to have these people you're employing too that are coming back. Is it really going to be worth it financially for them to do all this for a 10% capacity just to get people in? Plus the special dogs that they're going to have to sniff the air to make sure that there's no COVID. It seems like more work that needs to be done right now.
They're making money on TV though, right?
For something else. That's all, right?
Aren't they making money on TV though? Like, the only reason why they're keeping it going is because they still make revenue from television.
Yeah, but they were doing it without fans. They had the pop-up people. Did you ever see the pop-up people? They had in stands. They were just like cutouts and stuff like that they were putting.
More than the pop-up people though. It's crazy, man.
I think it probably just comes down to, like, these season ticket holders are like, we want our money back. There's seasons are going by and we're not taking any advantage of that. So why should we pay? Same thing with, like, these colleges that are still trying to charge tuition for kids living on campus and they're not living there.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That I can attest to personally. I know people who are in that situation.
Yeah. All right. So what's our last one would be Bernie Sanders memes. Leave it to Bernie to make money off of the memes. Okay, leave it to Bernie. He's now raised over $1.8 million for charity. Okay, should have been our president. I'm really like I wish this man was our president. But Bernie's hunkered down image capture and decorated photographer Brendan, oh, I can't say your name, Mr. Smilowski, was soon photoshopped into classic paintings like Edward Hopper's Nighthawks and Botticelli's Birth of Venus. He's been inserted into contemporary pop culture with winks and nods to Sex and the City, Twilight, Game of Thrones, and Where's Waldo. He's even been swapped into Sharon Stone's infamous cross-legged hot seat pose from Basic Instinct. You gotta be kidding. He quickly added the image to the line of merchandise on his website, and with all the proceedings benefiting Vermont-based charities, including Meals on Wheels and senior citizen advocacy programs. Sweatshirts, tees, stickers sold out in less than 30 minutes.
Not surprised.
He reported raised around $1.8 million in the span of 5 days. 5 days, $1.8 million. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's the burn.
I just respect. I feel the burn. I respect it. I just gotta respect the man for realizing that he saw hell. You know, you got me in a picture. It was 3 seconds. You got me in a picture. I'm gonna do what I can with it. That's all. That's all.
I really think that he looked the way he did was because he was mad he wasn't putting a hat on. Because you know that man would have had a hat on too if he could have gotten away with it. He was like, let me not put my hat on, because you know he would have had a hat on too. It's just so, and the lady who sells the mittens, I know she just made them for him, but people were like soliciting her to make mittens, and she's like, she's like, I don't do this all the time. She's like, I just made him some mittens because he looked like he needed some mittens.
Trashy got it best. Bernie selling out to Big Mitten.
He's now part of the 1%. They're giving him lots of money now for those mittens.
Right?
He sold out. He sold out. He's super mean man. No, I don't know.
I love Bernie.
Oh man, I wish we had like.
I'm just glad that he's going to be the Senate's. Sorry about that. I'm just blanking for a second. The fact that he's going to be so important in the Senate right now and actually running the economic part of our committee from now on.
Yeah, I just he's in charge of the
even
money.
Though it's going to be 50-50. Thank you. I'm at my tired point. Like I hit my tired point like 20 minutes ago. But no, but I'm just glad that's happening because I didn't want him on the cabinet. I just want to be very specific. I think that he should stay in the Senate and be making sure that we're doing actually economic stuff for people instead of doing probably what would be an ambassador role, most likely if he was in the cabinet. So that's all. I'm just happy that we're gonna do something.
Yeah, I'm happy that he's making them nervous. He's making them real nervous over there. Like the little guy named Bernie Sanders from Vermont. He's gonna be the one making sure the money goes where it's supposed to be going.
That and the attention. I like that. I want him to keep getting attention.
Yes.
Man. Just keep getting him attention so that whatever he says, people hear it. You know what I mean? You know, hopefully he'll say the right things for the right people, but you know, usually he has a relatively good heart, and that's what matters. And I want the right people to have the mic more often.
Yeah,
you know,
this man's been working for us before we even knew he was working for us. He's been fighting harder than before you was even paying attention for it.
Yep.
You're gonna say that again, Teresa, because it broke up a little bit.
No, I was saying he's been fighting for us before we were even paying attention to what the fight was. He's been fighting for us for so long. People need to recognize that this man has been in the game. He created the game. I created the damn bill.
That's right. He's gonna write the damn budget, and that's what's gonna matter. He's gonna write the damn budget.
Yep.
And I think that is a great way to end today's show, because he's going to write the damn budget. So please subscribe, follow, like, all of those things on Twitter, Instagram. Find us everywhere. We'll keep diversifying. That's what we're gonna keep doing. YouTube. So please love us. Please make the algorithm gods happy. And
Thank
thank
you.
you for joining us on Growth Mind State. We'll see you guys soon. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Bye,
Have a good
guys.
night. Thank you.